This morning, we get to chat with two of our favorites, Laurel and Blake and Jim. Blake Vartani and Jim Norton, Realty Pro 100. What are we going to talk about? Who knows? When the guys show up, we planned for this. I guess we put this on the calendar about a month ago.
Yes.
And
being like our normal selves, we didn't do any homework prior to coming to
no homework. Dave Silva says to say hello to you guys.
Hello.
And whoa, thanks, Blake. He says that I'm a genius. Okay.
Dave's a genius.
Your gift card is on the way. Thanks, buddy. So what's going on with you guys? I mean, business is booming, and real estate, there's plenty of inventory.
I'm going to defer to my distinguished colleague, Oliver Hardy.
Every time I watch all the hooplas going on, I still go back to the basics. Supply and demand.
Demand.
Well, stay on the basics.
You saw a big supply number, so you shared a report with me just as we're going on air. Yes. That way I cannot do any homework, and you just blindside me.
Yeah.
The city of Orange, from the California Association of Realtors.
Yes.
Okay, so
and again, as we've always said, you have to take data with a grain of salt. And so,
who's providing it? What's their motivation?
Exactly.
And what are they really sharing?
Let's see. So they had. Bear with me.
Jim's got to get his old. He's got to get his glasses.
I got to
on.
get my glasses off.
He's already wearing contacts. And
he's
had corrective laser surgery.
And I've got the big words on the phone.
So what does it say? What is California Association of Realtors?
January of 24, existing single-family residence home sales were 34.
Okay, no. Okay, so I'm going to harass you a little bit because
up 21% from last year.
Okay, so if you go from 0 to 4,
to 4, you're up 21%.
Right? I mean, so just remember, we went from a very low number. Now that says that that was how many homes sold, or that was how many are available for sale?
Existing home sales, 34 in January.
Okay, so now
active listings, 31 in January, down 35%. So sales were up. Inventory was
down. Okay.
All right. Median price was up 21%.
Now let's just go back to remembering, because again, another institution puts out a number that's totally worthless. Median home price is a worthless number. That is the mix of properties being sold. It has nothing to do with the valuation of your property or appreciation of your property. Zero to do with it. So, okay. and I have fun because our friends over at Chapman University in the city of Orange, when they put out their numbers, they talk about home prices dropping, and then they say, "Oh, it's the median price," which has zero value except to an economist.
Let me give you one more. This is the best part.
Okay.
Because you always have people looking, and you can simply say supply and demand, and they want to see numbers, etc. This is the market competition, they call it, for January. Median days on median. I love the word. Median days on the market, 21 days. So nothing's sitting.
So it's selling quick.
Even at median days of 21, under 30 days. So things are moving. So if a house is on the market, it's not going to be there that long. Number one, sales to list price percentage, 100.5%.
So people are either overbidding or listing low.
It's dead on.
105%.
Well, no, 100.5.
100.5. Okay.
So
if you get a good realtor, they know what they're doing.
That means they're priced right and they're selling right. Nobody's,
Now Dave actually
swing going on.
Dave's sharing some current data because CAR gives you old data.
Again, this is
January.
Just for January. Last one, Dave.
Before you go on there. So current data, because now here's a little bit of a misleading bit, but I'm going to tell you anyway. And I want to tell you why I think it's a little bit misleading. So right now, they're showing 45 homes are available, but the data that Jim's sharing right there is single family. When you look at homes, that's going to be condo plus single family. So right now, when I look at this, and I use Altos Research, I'll tell you exactly where I get my data. Altos Research says there's 33 single family homes available for sale. And when you add the 12 condos that are for 12 condos for the whole city that are available for sale, you get the exact 45 that Dave just shared with us. That's 45 active listed today.
Now think of the geographic range of which the city of Orange is, all the way from the block, all the way out to the 241. And there's only 12 condos for
12
sale in that
condos.
entire area. That's
Right.
active?
Yeah, there was yesterday. I watched. I actually had to go back and rewind it. I leave one of the business channels on in the background, and so I heard the housing report and see the gal said something. Again, this is national, but what it struck me in the whole deal is that the hierarchy. The gentleman that was hosting the show asked about housing hierarchy. There used to be an entry level condo, townhome.
Mid-range.
Then you would buy that in your 20s, sell it to and move to the house in your 30s, 40s, 50s, then downsize back to something.
We call that
smaller.
right sizing, sir. Especially as I get older and
Okay,
older.
but there was a mix of inventory for
Sure.
this. 12 condos, and I guarantee you, probably they're all 20 plus years old. I mean, there's no balance of housing being developed. Everybody talks about we need to build housing, we need to do this with housing, and there's no balance of
So
housing.
what was the point of the conversation
the-
from that commentary?
The point of the conversation is that where they, in Florida, Texas, everybody wants to say that everybody's leaving California because they hate California. No, they're leaving California because you can get the housing supply in areas like Texas where they have built that mix of product. Florida, where they've built that mix of product.
Well, people like freedom though too. Okay, so let's get back to our conversation. Blake Vartani and Jim Norton, Realty Pro 100 in the house. Where are you guys seeing prices going? Do you think they're going to go up, down, sideways?
Oh, I think they're going to go up, but they're not going to skyrocket. The market's, personally, I see the market as being sort of a neutral. People are buying, people are selling. Interest rates are high, so there's not a frenzy going on. But at the same time, doesn't seem to be a bubble situation. If you're thinking that prices are going to, you're waiting on the fence because you want to wait for prices to go down, I don't know what's going to gain you, because you have to have prices go down, interest rates go down if you're sitting on if that's your mentality. But the reality
Are interest rates really high?
Pardon?
Are interest rates high though?
Well, a problem is I'm old. So to me, no, they're not that high. They're higher than 3.
Absolutely.
But you know what? You have to, it's a personal situation. If you're making some of the salaries they're making today, then no, they're not that high. They're
Well, right now they're at
proportional.
6.92 if we go by OBMMI yesterday.
Right.
And I think I've got a chart in here somewhere. I have no idea where it is, but I think it shows that historic average over the last 50 years is 7.18.
Mm-hmm. I think so. If I remember, we had that conversation.
We've got like 10 years of time that, we've kind of been
a really good run.
Yeah.
And we did that, you know what? After 2005 to 2013, I think it was, there's a really good run on prices. Prices had dropped because that particular recession or depression, you want to call it, was based on real estate activity, financing, so that prices did drop, and that's why it was.
But
a
it
bubble.
took historic fraud to make that happen.
Yes, it did.
I mean,
but
let's face it.
at the same
Sure.
time, we
Mhm.
don't have a bubble situation. There's nothing going on. I mean, we're not overbuilding, we're not underbuilding. We're just
somebody could make a
along.
case that we're underbuilding,
Yes.
well, you could,
right? I mean, because we
in
need
California, you can.
Well,
but
I don't know about
you
California numbers, but I do know nationally we're creating 1.9 million households every year, and we're building about 1.3 to 1.4 million households.
Well, just,
Right, we can't-
I mean,
no,
you
we're
can
not
you
doing-
can you can blog just into Google and ask how many what's that the unfilled housing needs for California, and it says we have to build 3.5 million units between now and next year, 2025, in order to get to a balanced supply and demand.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Google's
I'm not.
In the
I'm.
nation.
I'm just telling you that's what the data is there.
No.
If you can,
Well,
that's
so you
it.
can make an argument that
I mean-
one way or another, whether
Well,
you
you-
believe it or not, it's a different story.
for
the
40,
beauty of it is on that though is over time, Chapman University has come back and said that that's a California state statistic, and Chapman University has come back in their California economic forecast and said it's overstated a bit.
Okay, but
But-
even if there's no, if it's just 500,000,
Right.
even if it's 1,000,000, it's what the point is that we typically for prices to drop, you have to have an oversupply.
Absolutely.
Right. It doesn't matter whether it's gasoline, doesn't matter whether it's stores in the shelves on the stores. I mean, remember,
Eggs.
remember, I mean, yeah, eggs. Remember in the pandemic, I mean, one row of the store had items on it. We'd never walked into a grocery store that had empty shelves
Right.
in our lifetime. And then we saw it and we went, wow, this is what happened? What happened to America, the land of
We needed a
prosperity?
lot
Within
of
that,
toilet paper then.
no, well, there's a lot more than just that, though, as it turned out to be. People started hoarding things that we never even thought of, right?
Sure,
I mean,
yeah,
you want
absolutely.
to get household cleaning stuff, you want to get
Toilet
gloves,
paper.
yeah, of course. So, but my point is that
Jim's fixated on toilet
Yeah, I
paper.
guess
the
so.
same thing is possible on any given day. There could be 10,000 people in Orange County who decide just by coincidence or what, it doesn't even have to be an event. We just say, I want to sell my house today. And if all those homes hit the market at the same time, it would change the market instantly.
Absolutely.
That's all I look at. And so you can't predict how many people will decide to do that in the privacy of their own home, that they, for whatever their life mission is, that they decide they want to put a piece of real estate on the market the next day. So the only day we can deal with is today.
Sure.
And as you said before, the market is street by street by street by street. So what's going on in Buena Park probably has little or nothing to do with what's going on down in Mission Viejo.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I always go back to the simple thing. If no houses are on,
I love this. You gotta preface this one and frame this right.
yeah.
I love this.
So this is how I
No,
describe.
Blake's simple method of
This is my simple method for
Okay.
real estate professionals and for consumers to understand the real estate market. If there are no properties for sale on the street you live in a seller's market. If there's one listing, you're still in a seller's market. If there's two listings that are unsold, you're now in a balanced market. And if there's 3 or more listings on your street that are unsold, you are in a buyer's market, because you have a competitive environment in which you have to compete with your neighbors to get the price you want for the sale of your property.
and the buyer has
And if I had a microphone, I'd drop it.
yeah, and in that
He's gonna get out and
situation,
walk away.
in that situation, the buyer has options. If somebody says,
Yeah.
I want to live on Main Street,
Yeah.
and there's one house for sale, guess who's in control? Right? The seller's in control.
Well, it's like BMW keeps sending me messages. We want to buy your car back, because I have happen to have a rare model of a car that just happened to fall out of escrow. In their case, the buyer walked away from a very customized car that he ordered, and it was sitting there on the showroom floor. And I went in on a Friday. They told me it was sold. I went in on a Tuesday and it was still sitting there. And I said, what's it doing sitting there? And they said, because the buyer walked away. I said, no, he didn't. He's standing right here.
And they didn't realize that Blake's lifespan of a car is usually
About three and a half weeks. If
3.5
it needs gas or an oil change, I've had it too long.
That's too long. Continue our conversation. Blake Vartani and Jim Norton. We're in the house talking about pricing, forecasts, real estate valuations, inventory. So I don't know which one of you want to take this one. Where do you think, what's going to get inventory or loosen up inventory in the marketplace as a whole? I mean, it's certainly not going to be the
Interest rates.
homeless coming in.
I'll jump in. I'll jump into that one right off the bat. Interest rates are going to.
So we're not going to
loosen.
ever have more inventory if interest rates stay around the historic norm of 7.18.
But it's going to help people get through that. Maybe I should change that to time, because as people adjust to the 7% rate, let's just call it 7.
So you can go to work for Goldman Sachs now, because
Yeah,
in a short 2 months period, they changed their forecast.
I
By
can
how
change
many?
I changed my forecast faster than that. So I guess interest rates, but in the essence, it's the time for people to have acceptance. We're now in the 7% that the 3% has left. As everything goes up fast and down slow, you might get some dips and stuff in there, but you're back to the reasonable 7% interest rate, and people are going to get comfortable with it. They're going to realize that's what we're going to deal with, and
They're going to realize that
the seniors who
3%.
control most of it, the baby boomers that control most of the real estate because they bought it so long ago, they're going to be changing out of it. And then they're going to start thinking, okay, I do need to downsize, or I'm going to go live somewhere with.
Okay, I'm going
kids
to
or
play
something.
devil's advocate with you.
Sure.
So John wants to get divorced and he's got a 3% mortgage rate. Is he keeping his house or is he getting rid of it?
She gets the house.
Okay.
What are you talking about? John doesn't have a choice.
John does have a
He's
okay.
in California. He's toast.
He's-
No, it's
there's certain things that are
but
outside
that's
this scope.
that's specific. We have to. I mean, you're talking about ways to get inventory, and the baby boomers control the inventory. I mean,
Can I give your audience a little thought
Yes.
for the day? So 2017, I did a survey of the 8 cities around our location here in Orange.
Okay.
And there were 53,000 people or 53,000 properties that were owned without a mortgage, which means those people have the most amount of cash sitting in their homes. And it's debt equity, as most of us would call it,
Right.
who have been around a while. And that means it's not going to work for them. So I
As efficiently as possible.
as efficiently as
It's
possible.
still gonna, yeah.
Yeah, it's still working. It's still
growing.
appreciating, but
If you took the money out, the property's still gonna appreciate.
most people believe that that is the best thing they can do with that money is leave it sitting as equity in their house. And I'm not debating whether it is or not. What I'm saying is they probably don't understand what alternatives there are to consider. So when you look at how do you build wealth, today, that same number of cities has 83,000 properties, up 30,000 properties
Wow.
in the last 6 years of new wealth that's been created. You have people who have made a lot of money in the stock market in the last run up. Since last October, it was at 32,000, and now it's 39, 38,000 in the
Sure.
Dow Jones. If you bought the right stock, you've made a lot of money. When the stock market never goes up forever,
Sure.
so it will start to come down. And as it starts to come down, money's going to shift. And where's it going to shift to?
Other asset
These
classes.
asset classes, real estate, bonds, whatever.
Sure.
So after the 87 crash in the stock market, the real estate market took off. And 88 was unbelievable. There were 6,600 units a month selling in Orange County, according to DataQuick, at that time. That was the high per month. I want you to think about that. Now we're here sitting with a couple of thousand, and that's 6,600 then on a population that's well over 1 million people less than there is today.
Wow.
So if you want to take the interest rate argument out of it, or the interest rate environment out of the conversation, I can share it openly, because there's no way I could, if all 86,000 or 83,000 of those people said, okay, Blake, we want to understand what you're trying to do. There's an abundance for everyone.
Well,
and you can't contact them all. There's no way.
okay,
But-
I preface it back to the interest rate conversation, because you're doing the statistical median static deal. Some of the houses are, not all the houses are entry level, medium level, luxury
No, but we don't
levels,
know until we
retirement
talk. We
level.
don't know
You
until
know
we
what I'm
talk.
saying? You got 83,000 people, but
Not
if
everyone's going to
83,000, you know,
Yeah.
are they all going to be at different price levels?
put me in front of 10 people who own their homes free and clear, and I'll take those people all day long versus the people who own their homes with $100,000 worth of equity.
Well, yeah,
That's the point I'm trying to get to.
I agree.
Gotcha.
So if you want to increase your chances of success, go to where the money is.
Right.
The money is sitting there already created.
Right.
These
That's
people
gonna
are
give you
living
the
with
inventory.
$200,000 a year in cost to operate their households, and they don't have enough. They think they have enough to retire on. And if you want to know how to do that presentation, call me. I'll be happy to discuss it. I'm not trying to convince anyone of anything. I'm saying is that as a real estate industry, we can advocate for our clients and our customers to help them build wealth that is legitimate and helpful over the course of their lifetime, if they choose to take that path.
So there's a big conversation right there that Blake's sharing with us. And the conversation in that has to do with the difference between what Blake is doing and what Blake evangelizes, is that sometimes you can be an advisor or you can be a salesperson.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Most real estate people are salespeople. They're transactional. Blake's talking about something here where he can help somebody develop tremendous household net worth over time. And I'm going to show you a way to take that one step further, exactly what Blake did. So you don't want to move out of your property. You've got a lot of equity in your property, and you don't like the 6 point, I'm going to use jumbo because I'm going to go back, 6.92%. That is the conforming loan rate that we just talked about. Again, I'm not giving you APRs. I'm just telling you what OBMMI reports, as I said earlier in the program. Our friends over at Geneva Financial, they've got something called the Home Select program. You can find out about it. Go to rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. How would you like to take and use the equity in your property? Maybe you don't even have to make any kind of a legitimate mortgage payment because of the way the program works. It's a first position, call it a first position HELOC. So when I looked at this for somebody just recently, their effective APR was 2.006. 2.006 on a $1.7 million property. You get to have access to all that equity whenever you need it, and you don't pay interest on it if you don't need it. Think about that one. 2.006 in the market right now, and that's an effective APR. Right now, the rate was 6.926 according to OBMMI. You want more information about either of these things, the Home Select, rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com. If you want to know how to build wealth using real estate, because I'll do the math for you. We don't have time today, but I'll do the math for you. There is no asset class that appreciates like real estate when you're looking on the return on capital. The return on capital, because you can leverage
the tax
it.
treatment as well.
Tax treatments are there too. Absolutely. Yep. So give me a call. We'll talk about it. I'll put you in touch with Blake and Jim if you want to know about the real estate side.